You guys already know what time it is, so let's get it, let's go. What you did in the second half of the video, you should have done that more in the beginning, which was to have the camera lower, because when it's higher, it feels less properly framed. And you did fix that later on, so that proves that you can have the camera lower. All the battle stuff, especially the gunshots, were very well done. I like the slight impact you added to the gunshots. It wasn't too much, but it wasn't too little. It felt realistic. Some of the clone trooper dialogue could have been minimized to be less, because some lines were just not needed, but it didn't really bother the pacing of the story that much. I really did like the ending, because since this was a part 1, you could have done something like them retreating, but you still went out of your way to make the video even cooler by having a battle which they lose, and it was actually a really good battle. This is a little hypocritical coming from me, but I felt like the voice acting was just very monotone. But nonetheless, this is a great video to begin the reviewing session. 8 out of 10. There are some improvements that can be done, but that does not change the fact this was a very solid video. Where can I even begin with this video? In the beginning, it just felt like, this is a pretty solid video. I could give you an 8.5 out of 10. But the longer it went on, the more stuff were being revealed. And all this with very minimal dialogue. So it really was just you looking at everything changing in front of you. And words can't describe how much I want to steal stuff like this from you. I was originally going to complain about the overexposing, especially with Peter Parker being in his home. But then later on, I was able to see that this all makes sense. Nothing in this video felt accidental. I actually began really liking the overexposed stuff. So if you guys ever see stuff in my videos that are just too bright, it's because I'm just trying to steal or being inspired by this video specifically. What I'm saying is not even enough to give you the credit for what you did. Just like the backrooms video I reviewed from a few reviewing sessions back, this is something above me. Easily, and I mean easily, a 10 out of 10.
You should have joined us, Square.
This was straight up cartoon levels of violence, like something out of a Tarantino movie. Just like the video before, I had some things I wanted to critique, but later on, I just felt like they added to the vibe. For example, there was just a lot of unnecessary dialogue, but it really added to the cartoony aesthetic, but there are some things that could be improved on. For example, this video being 4:3, when you film something in 4:3, you have to remember that you should not be filming it the way you film the default 16:9. You have to keep mind of the framing as you film. And in this video, people were just way too much on the sides, making it feel like you decided to change the 4:3 later on, or you were just not keeping that in mind, and because of which the framing feels pretty off in this video. I'm just gonna be honest, the gunshots were very poorly done in this video. There were no smoke, there were no some kind of indication that they were being shot. They were hardly shaking at all, if at all. But I did see you try to make up for this with the impacts they had onto people, like when people were losing limbs and all that. That was very well done. Not to sound like a psychopath, but with the screaming you added and all to that, it just felt really cool. But things such as explosions, they were just happening way too slow, and that was the thing I saw reoccurring throughout this video, that some parts had too little frames and some things had too many frames. When you have a shot of someone just standing in one place, and instead of having the camera like making them do stuff, you should have the camera instead doing some of the movements, so it feels like you're not just freezing onto a frame. I do that too to like basically add a shaky cam while you're filming, as you keep the characters still, because sometimes you don't have an incentive of moving them, but you still need to get the shot and people know that you're not being lazy. A video like this could definitely benefit from having a macro lens, because when someone is hiding behind the car and such, having them only in focus would really help out. It would make what they're saying feel more personal and secretive, so the other group doesn't hear them. You don't really need that. I really like what you did here though. 7.5 out of 10. I originally had different things to say about this video, but then I slowly just grew on me. I'm impressed that you were actually able to keep your hand still enough for the video, because I've tried it before and it just is super unstable when I try it. I like that you kept creative things going on throughout the entire video, so it never felt repetitive, and it all led up to an actual event where the guy actually fights back against the hand. You could have just kept on doing random things, but you decided to actually give it a somewhat of a story. And another great thing about it is that the video doesn't feel too long or too short. Some parts of the video feel smoother than others, but that does not remove the fact this was very solidly done. The Among Us thing is like 5 years too late, but it doesn't really hurt the video bad enough. Great job with this video. It did what it had to do, and it did it very well. No more, no less. 9 out of 10. There were two issues in this video that could have been fixed. First off is that the voice acting was just way too quiet. I had to increase my volume to understand exactly what they're trying to say. So yeah, you could have worked on that. And then another thing was the overexposure of the camera. There were some times where the camera was just clipping and it didn't really feel necessary. Or in better words, not on purpose. Oh yeah, if I want to add stuff to like the camera, you could have also fixed the framing, because there were some times where the camera just felt too low when like Sonic was trying to do something, or it just felt too high. Like for example, when Sonic was first talking to Doctor Strange. But once you remove all that and look at the animation, things take a whole 180. You did the Lego motion blur thing when you use the bricks as the motion blur, but the thing is that when you did it, it actually felt like it makes sense. I realized that some people just try to add a lot of the brick motion blur, but it does not make sense with the speed of characters going. When you do it, it naturally feels like they're actually turning into that motion blur. So every time Sonic does something, it looks beautiful. It looks super smooth. It always looks like everything was done on purpose to look that amazing. So basically every time Sonic did anything, it just looked really, really good. But even though the camera was overexposing, I really did like that this whole video had this very dim and moody look. There is a shot I'm trying to imagine from one of my future videos that I wanted to look just like this. Happens in the video, and the animation is definitely what carries this, so I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10. Out of all the videos for today, you're the one who would actually improve on the most with having a macro lens. You try to get a lot of close-up shots, but the thing is that the camera is just not able to focus, and I already feel like you already do a lot of the zooming in because the resolution of the camera is pretty low. Try to test different kinds of lighting or just like different angles for the lighting, because the angle you have it on has the green of the grass reflect a lot onto the character, so it gives them this very weird and green reflection onto their body. But the animation here was actually really solid. I genuinely love it, like for example when someone shoots someone and the other guy just blocks it with his blades. That was actually really well done. And for the people that actually have watched the video, you guys already know what I'm going to be talking about, the scream in the video. And that scream was absolutely so loud, because I remember watching this when the video originally came out, and that was just insane. If that was done as a joke, then good job, but if this was done with like a serious intent, there's a lot of things you can work on. For example, the audio in between of the video right before the scream was just not in the same volume level. For example, when Shrek did his roar, it was just way too quiet, and your scream was again way too loud. And I really hope you did it for comedic sense, because that really helped out the video a lot. It was a great way to end the video. A lot of the stuff in this video try to balance itself out, so I'm gonna have to give you 7.8 out of 10. And for today, guys, that's it. If you want a long form video, you guys can put that in the comments below. And if you guys want to be in the short form videos, it's best to put it in the actual short forms in the YouTube shorts. Yeah, but outside of that, like and subscribe, and especially share, and see you guys next time.